All right, let's try that one more time. Back at it here for week number 5 of the World of Racing MX-5 Cup Series. Jackson Lambros alongside Sagar Bakshi, and a couple of mechanical mishaps keeping us from getting started here, but we are ready to cover race number 10 here at Vallelunga. Just a quick recap. We'll get to that actually in a second here because, Sagar, we've got 17 cars out on track, and we are ready here to invade Italy for the 10th race. 13 minutes to go here in qualifying.
Let's head over to watch what the drivers are all up to.
So Cody, currently your fastest out on track, putting down a 1:56. Only a couple of full song laps. You see Mark William and Anders putting one on the board as well, but let's see what Anders can do here as he just gets to the line. But just quickly recapping our results. We missed you for Barber Motorsports Park, but it was Dylan, Josh, and Daniel, your podium, with David, Andrew, Andres, Cody, Aaron, Donovan, and Vicente rounding out your top 10. You count our last race, I believe. Oh man, Sagar, we were just talking about this. What was round 7? It was
Charlotte Roval, Donington Park.
And I know that Dylan won Donington, so that makes it 2 in a row now for Dylan. So we'll see if he can make it a three-peat as we head to the Maggiore Circuit here in Vallelunga, just about 20 miles north of Rome. What was originally built, believe it or not, as a sand oval, just a tad over a mile, has become one of the biggest club circuits in the heart of Italy and the host of round number 10. Aaron now gets to the top as we're starting to see some drivers reshuffle. Here's Mark, 3.5 seconds down, and everybody is stopping.
Very interesting as the session gets re-going here to give everybody the 20 minutes of qualifying that they justly deserve. The swarm of bumblebees heads out of pit lane and starts swarming the racetrack in full-fledged.
So let's try that one more time. We are running the international circuit of this track. All 15 corners of them. Good mix of high and low speed. I like to call that kind of interloop you see in the middle there. Very kind of Tsukuba-esque if you've got wheel knowledge, but very much some Monza-esque sections. You see that final long sweeping right-hander, kind of its own take on Parabolica. You've got some tighter Misano-esque flicks, and that long sweeping left right-hander of Curva Grande. Kind of some shades of Spa-Francorchamps if you made it flat. So a very good mix of different corners here in the Italian countryside. Going to be a big test of these drivers' capabilities in all kinds of corners here, Sagar.
All that to say, Jackson Lambros, is that this is a very Italian track. You've got a mix of high-speed corners, low-speed stuff, very technical as well. But for these MX-5s, it's going to be very interesting for the cars to try to negotiate. The MX-5s are really just apt at doing a lot of these different things. Expect some slipstreaming coming down the top of the key there, where the number 11 is currently running down the front straightaway, and expect to see some argy-bargy elbows out racing through some of the tighter sections as well. Looking at some of the cars come through the hairpin left-hander currently, it is absolutely an army of bees swarming the racetrack, and they're all fighting for track position right now.
These guys are almost going to be hoping that we were running the historical layout before it was added. This newer edition came in 2006. That added the Campagno and Sortha, kind of that big left and right-handed hairpin there, the kind of kink to the left and the long right-handed sweeping hairpin after turn 5. That kind of was just a long straightaway that kind of went into a reverse of Curva Grande and then into that kind of Tsukuba section I was talking to you guys about. Semaforo, Tomatino, that's 9, 10, 11, and 12 through Esse. So again, some longer straightaways, but they're never fully straight, if you will. Very much like Spa-Francorchamps. You can use the bumper, but it's going to be going back and forth to really get it done, as we now see Hayden work his way through onto turn number 6. There's that kink, and boy, you can see that big freight train behind, as that is going to become pivotal in maximizing that lap time.
It really will be very pivotal as far as maximizing the lap time, and it looks like further down the order we have a couple of drivers that have been racing each other during this qualifying session. As Cody comes through, we see a couple of the MX-5s go wheel to wheel, and the 55 absolutely licks the stamp and sends it on the 71. That'll be Cody falling back there, getting some drafting through this tight section now, which really won't help him out too much. Assetto Corsa does a great job of mimicking the drafting effect and the slipstream effect. Now, how well do you think the drivers will capitalize that driving these MX-5s? They've been in them for quite a few series now, or quite a few events, and they've been at various road courses throughout this championship so far. Looking forward, Jackson, at this event at Vallelunga, what do you expect?
I think for me, there's a reason why Assetto Corsa has this as your default track, because it is such a great introduction, not just to the game, but to circuit racing in general. Not only do you have obviously a great mix of right and left-handed corners, but you have got such a great combination of low, high, medium speed corners. It requires you to have big time commitment in those second and first sections, learning that top speed level of grip and that absolute limit. Forces you to have that commitment. It teaches you hardcore braking, turn 4, turn 7, but it teaches you how to get technical too, how to rotate the car, going through turns 11, 12, all the way through 14. Very low speed, could see some overtaking opportunities there, but it is going to be testing all aspects of this track. It's not a technical and tight Suzuka, it's not a high-speed Monza, it's a perfect combination of absolutely everything. And that is why I, like so many people who drive Assetto, find this track so interesting. Not huge on the global motorsports calendar, but beloved by people who play Assetto. Cody S right now in trail of Vicente, and again, using all of that draft as much as possible. Cody, we haven't seen too much in the MX-5 Cup, have seen him do really, really good in the World of Racing Pro Series, especially a couple weeks ago at Motegi. Looking for a second top 5 here at Vallelunga.
Very true, but it's all up to this man, Josh, who's at the top end of the charts. A driver who's actually found some very clean air to run his qualifying session is 1/10 faster than Daniel currently, and potentially going a little bit faster through sector 1, not carrying as much speed, but just off the mark barely though. Coming through sector 2, let's see what they have in store before they get to the start finish line. Will anybody best Josh's time? The number 56 holds on to provisional pole with 14 minutes of this qualifying session remaining. Track temperature is 26 degrees Celsius with the ambient temperature, flip that and reverse it, the ambient temperature being 26 degrees Celsius, while the track temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. That is scalding hot. 6 kilometers per hour being the crosswind currently.
Yeah, and that crosswind is going to be really, really important come the race, because it doesn't necessarily knock you off kilter. Like if you were driving on the freeway, yes, these cars are higher up relative to maybe other TCR or GT cars, but that's not going to be really a factor. What is absolutely going to be a factor is that draft. If you are straight into a headwind, your draft effect multiplies by how much that speed is into your, coming towards your hood. So if we're going, let's say we got a western wind, right? If we're heading back to the stripe, that draft is going to be all that much stronger. And these guys are going to need this because, again, not super straightaways, shall we say. I can English. I'm finding good ways to say this. But there's no true long straightaway here. There's always kinks and whatnot. That's going to kind of help work its way to kind of like balance it out here as we ride on board with David coming just outside of, I believe, Curva Grande. Yes, it is. So hard on the anchors we go here as we work our way into Simini 1 and Simini 2, the two right-handed 90-degree corners. Got to be so careful with those sausage curbs on the inside because they can spit you out even if you are in an MX-5 car. Doing the left-handed kink of turn 6, and here we go all the way on to Campagno.
beautiful entry into Campagno there. The driver is executing this very well. Good enough for third position on the previous lap. Now only good enough for fourth position, unfortunately, for David. But finding some improvement through sector 1. Now coming through Trinecca, following that corner, coming into Semaforo. I'm not Italian, Jackson, so excuse me for getting the names wrong.
I'm Italian, don't worry, I got you. Torrentino, I believe this is the left-handed hairpin here. So again, this tight, technical, Tsukuba-esque section. A lot of curving on the outside. That is there to catch you if you run wide. Not too wide, though. You got to be careful. The kind of beloved section that's used by the spec Fiat 500 club, used by the Kuno staff around Roma, and that will be a lap here at Vallelunga.
And a beautifully executed lap with improvement through sectors 1 and 2 and through sector 3. A 2/10 overall improvement for David will be all she wrote for his drive in the number 58 currently. It'll be Andrew out in P1 currently, 2/10 in front of Josh with 10 minutes and 40 seconds to go left on the clock. Then Daniel, David, Vicente, Aaron, Hayden, James, Donovan, Cody S, Andreas, Robert, Mark, Matt, Mark W, and Dylan to round out the 16 participants here for MX-5 Fight Night.
So the asphalt track here first opened in 1957 and talked about that combination of corners. Not only is it used so much by sim drivers testing, it was in fact the home of European testing for Formula One 2004 to 2007. So the FIA not only giving this the grade 1 stamp of approval, but seeing this as a perfect fit, just like Bahrain or Barcelona, as having that perfect mix of corners here to test every aspect of a racing car. Kunos appreciates it, especially though, because Sagar, it's the home of Kuno Simulazione, who actually occupy a pit garage here as an office.
Wow, that's something I had no idea about. Now, Jackson, I've got some information for you that you may not know. Did you know that Vallelunga originally opened in 1951 as a sand horse racecourse conversion?
I feel like actually a couple of racing circuits originate as that. Obviously, Indianapolis Motor Speedway originated as a fairgrounds. You turn the clock back to the world-famous Milwaukee Mile, which first started life as a horse racing track. I think what's weird, though, is seeing a track overseas have that kind of origin, right?
True, true.
And I mean, the only time we really see that kind of thing happen is like you would expect that to be maybe a Monza, right? Because that's more oval-esque in nature. And I mean, you can see absolutely where that inner loop used to be a racetrack, but very, very cool to see that kind of history. Very infrequently do we see that, but I mean, the past lives that so many different racetracks have had, it's almost never just a purpose-built racetrack, and that area of land is just leveled to become a racetrack. Former Army air bases. In the case of Portland International Raceway, formerly a neighborhood that got destroyed due to flood damage. Man, you've got
Sebring International.
Former airport, exactly. I mean, by and large, like especially that kind of World War II era, you got a lot of airports.
Donington.
Horse racing tracks. Donington, absolutely.
Silverstone, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. If it's a British racetrack, that's pretty well known. There's a really good chance it was at
World War II base.
An RAF, some kind of RAF landing field. Yeah.
Oran Park had some sort of history in World War II. Army Air Corps station, if I'm not mistaken. It wasn't for airplanes. Yeah. I want to say it was an Army Air Corps base.
Yeah, I believe it was some kind of military station. It was leveled by the Germans, and then at that point, they didn't rebuild it. They just figured, well, might as well make something cool out of it, and then transformed it into a racetrack, I believe. But that was formerly before that. I mean, you turn the clock way back. I believe that had some kind of royal family staying there as an auxiliary.
You're absolutely right. Oran Park used to be a royal occupied area, and it was actually what's it called when they basically seize your land and say this is for the greater good of the country? That's basically what they did to that land and seized it for the greater good of the country during the war efforts. And this could all be made up, but I believe it to be true, so I'm going to state it like it's true, of course. Actually,
so
go ahead.
Do your homework here. Let's check in what's going on track here. James leading the big freight train here, coming out of Torrentino. And again, not quite the speeds that this is going to be helping, but you saw how quickly we reshuffled in the opening laps, and James said very quickly, I've got pace. I would like to lead this freight train. Thank you very much. Andres trying to dig his way into the front 2 rows here, and Improve's not able to get there just yet. We'll see if he can get that done here in the final sector.
Look at Andreas now in the top 5, 1 second off the good. Then Daniel, David, Josh, and Andrew leading the charge with 6 minutes remaining on the clock currently. Andreas is out there looking to improve, has about half a second in his pocket. Purple through sector 3, but not through the rest of those times. Only improves by a little bit, 7/10 off the mark from the pole position time. Daniel does find P2 with a 1:53.959, currently 1/10 off the pace from Andrew, who is setting the very high benchmark to be breached right now. Now, Jackson, I've got a question for you. We see the margins here between drivers. We see everybody from P1 down to P5 within 1 second of that pole position time. Then we see another pack of drivers kind of within that 1 second to 2 second mark. Then we see drivers in that 2 second and further back mark. Now, when it comes down to the race, what kind of realistic times do you think we're looking at? Will we see those 153s, or is Andrew absolutely on the brink of his skill and his capabilities in these MX-5s? Will that time come back a little bit to be a little bit more conservative possibly?
Track is already optimum, so I don't think we're going to see any faster lap times on paper since the rubber is laid down. In theory, since you've got more cars in front of you, drafting effect could technically be wider, but we get that kind of accordion effect like if you were in a traffic jam when we come into those corners, right? You have to check up and wait for everybody to break in front of you. Can't necessarily roll all of that speed from corner to corner. So I think this is probably about as quick as we're going to get it. What's really breaking away for me, though, is just how separated this field is. Yes, like a fifth of a second separating your front row is very, very impressive, but that is still an eternity in the sim racing world. And we look at some of the other grade 1 circuits we've been to. I mean, you look at our finale last year in Sao Paulo, very draft heavy track. This, I'm not seeing as much with how wide this gap is. So I think this might actually, Sagar, be one of our biggest tests of car control at the limit. It's not going to be all in finding a dance partner, using someone to push and shove to the front. I really think this is going to be a test of commitment in low-speed control, how you rotate the car.
Very interesting indeed. I'm looking forward to this race. Of course, since we did miss that first one, this one's going to be the highlight of the night for sure. And I know at such an iconic track as Vallelunga, we're going to see some amazing action. And it's World of Racing. When do you ever get a disappointing event with World of Racing? Not in the history of events that I have ever seen.
Right.
I'm always super entertained. The drivers put on an amazing show for us, whether they're battling for first or P0 last. It's always a great time. So if the drivers are having fun, I'm having fun.
Right.
And I'm really looking forward to this event. Luckily for me and you, we've only got 2 minutes and 40 seconds left to go during the qualifying session, and we will get Heat 2 underway for tonight.
So Andrew currently quickest with 1:53.782, and want to congratulate both himself and Troy Ferguson, one of our regulars in the Pro Series, after a not one they want to remember, but still a phenomenal maiden run at Rock Vegas. just this past weekend, one of the biggest go-karting events in North America. Both those guys running in VLR, I think, unfortunately, due to getting involved in some incidents, missing out on the LCQ and not making the main event Sunday, but still some phenomenal running from Andrew, especially when you consider his age and really punching above his weight class for juniors. So big ups to Andrew. I swear I'm saying this for a reason, Sagar, and that's because you're reigning real-life MX-5 Cup Series champion and also the individual that won the one-off event at Martinsville. Jeremy Fletcher, Monday before the race, got the call to go off the couch and run this event. He's done go-karting events all across North America. Rock Vegas was seemingly the one that he had never been able to get. And, I mean, ran away with it on the main event Sunday. I think was 5 seconds clear of the competition.
Wow.
But you look at... Got to talk to him extensely at the Mike Manning Racing tent about how this compares to... These cars compares to karting. And he said, I don't think there's a more perfect way to jump up from karting than to go into MX-5s, just because you're still learning the basics of car control with your suspension, with your rack and pinion steering. But these cars coexist on track so much like MX-5 cars because power is limited, draft is important, you're using the bumpers, you're taking those gaps, you're going for it. The wheel is still ethical, but you're allowed to use the bumper, you're allowed to get a little bit physical.
That's absolutely a great point to make, Jackson, is that you are allowed to get a little bit argy-bargy or elbows out racing in these MX-5 cars, as Dylan finds P2 out of nowhere, a 153.8, just nearly 36 thousandths behind Andrew, currently looking for that pole position time. But it is very important to point out that you can go bumper to bumper in these cars, and unlike GT3s and definitely unlike some Le Mans prototype vehicles that you cannot go touching wheel to wheel with or go bumper to nose with unless you want to incur thousands of dollars in repair costs. These MX-5s are very economical for the drivers to go ahead and go lose some plastic or lose some, maybe not even carbon fiber pieces, but just some plastic bumpers. It's very economical. I think you can buy an MX-5 car for under $100,000 and go racing in it. From Mazda, from the factory, ready to go, turnkey, an MX-5 Cup car for under 100 grand.
We call sim racing the great entry to motorsport in general, but if you want a good entry level to pro motorsports in real life in general, I mean, Sagar just nailed it on the head. 53,000 MSRP for a brand new MX-5 Cup car, and that is taken from factory, converted over. I forget, I should know this. Converted by a certain engineering group out of Florida, but a handful of spec parts converted to make it a race car. And I mean, some of the most exciting racing on in the world, frankly. And there's a reason why they consistently get five-figure view numbers when MX-5 goes live on IMSA's YouTube. So hopefully we'll be getting the same of that. Checkered flag is out. Daniel on his last call here alongside Josh. They will be trying to get there, but that gap is finally starting to tighten up here at the line here. Andrew and Dylan just 57 thousandths of a second apart from one another.
Absolutely phenomenal stuff. Those drivers are maintaining their speed so well. Daniel still trying to go elbows out during the qualifying run. Had a lot of speed through sector 1. Lost it perhaps behind some traffic in sector 2. Getting to the line now. I don't think this will be good enough for pole position, and it won't be as the session now concludes. The lineup will be Andrew, Dylan, Daniel, and your 1, 2, 3 for the race start. Josh, David, Andreas down to 6th. Cody, Aaron, Vicente, and Hayden into your top 10. James, Donovan, Matt, Robert, Mark, and Mark W. being your 16 participants here tonight.
And if my math is mathing me right, we will do it for 20 minutes. If we get a dirty start, we will re-rack them, but go for believe a single file rolling start. But again, the intents have been very clear early on. Drafting is not going to be your friend here. That doesn't mean you don't need to find a dance partner to find pace here, but getting those biblical sends to the inside of certain corners not going to be as easy as you think. So cars coming up to the grid now, and as Sagar mentioned, Andrew and Dylan on the front row. Andrew looking for his first win in the MX-5s in over 3 months. Dylan looking to make it 3 in a row. What can Daniel and Josh do from further behind? We've seen such good pace from Cody. What can he do from 7th? So many others trying to work their way into the picture. But when these lights go out, we're going to start finding some answers. They're off, and we are green for race number 10 of the MX-5 Cups from Vallelunga.
Headed down and towards the kink of corner number 1. Things are looking pretty square as day currently, and it'll be single file as the order of operations for most of the cars, except for Josh, who's getting his elbows out there early, trying to get by Andreas. And look at the swarm of cars that we have leading into the first real corner of the racetrack, the big old corner of Simony. And now a car has gone off, or squealing tires at the very least, but now pointed in the right direction, it looks like. Further back, we have a battle between Aaron and James. Basically nothing separating them, but
James for the
front.
lead, I think here's Sagar. Daniel looking for a move to the inside in that blue car. You see him with a big lunge to the inside. Maybe a little bit of contact further back as Andrew wins it on the brakes. Josh gets realigned in that Mustard 58 machine. David is able to squeeze on through here as we work our way out of Campagno. And now things are about to get really tight as we work our way through Sarathe for the first time. That's not going to stop him from nearly going 3 wide. Dylan able to improve up into 30, still goes to a Dylan. This is exactly, Sagar, what Andrew wants to see, because he's already a second clear of the field.
He's running an absolute phenomenal race, currently in the lead by absolutely 1 second on this opening lap. He's doing a phenomenal job to keep it calm, cool, and collected so far, the karting superstar, but we are having a yellow flag called.
So it looks like that will be our virtual safety car out on track, and unfortunately the boulder will roll to the bottom of the hill then for Andrew. That will drop the margin down to about 3/10. So we'll have to wait and see until we go green once again. So Andrew, David, Daniel, Dylan, James, now your top 10. James getting a handful of positions as well. You can actually see some of these guys flashing the headlights, and here we go, back to green. David with a great launch. Dylan as well, trying to get David while they are, well, he was sleeping on the restart, so could be second dropped here, Sagar.
Oh my goodness, the line of cars battling for P2 currently headed to Curvone. And now the 58 leads the 56 over the 57, not in sequence, not in order, but looking for a move the long way around the outside. The 56 tried to go for one at Simony, but couldn't find the daylight there. Now trying to perform a little bit of an over-under move. Can't find it there either. Now nose to bumper. The headlights are flashing from the MX-5. The number 56 glued to the rear end of the 58. Daniel and David are nose to tail with nothing separating them, and the 57 of Dylan trying to catch back up and get involved in this mixture of cars as well. Looking further back, Hayden and Mark invert their positions for P11 and P12, but we're going to stay glued up here as the battle for the podium spots is getting pretty spicy, Jackson.
Andrew just a little bit wide there going through Sarathe. That's exactly what these three need to close that gap. And I was trying to tell you, Sagar, these guys need to work together if they want to close up to Andrew. You saw how quickly that gap gained, even in just the first handful of corners, just because Andrew had no one competing behind him and David just behind. He had everybody throwing haymakers behind, trying to get that runner-up position. I know these guys don't want to work with one another, but just getting in line, going bumper to bumper, and working together is going to help them close that gap so everybody has a shot of taking this lead. But again, you can see some frustration here, because I think Daniel maybe thinks he's a little bit faster in single lap pace than that Mustard 58 right in front, so he might be wanting to take the lead here. Let's see what he does.
Coming across the start finish line, it's Andrew, David, Daniel, Dylan, James, Josh, Cody, Andreas, Donovan, Vicente, Hayden, Robert, Mark, W, Aaron, and there is a change between Josh and James as James went a little just wide there, and now he's trying to retort by going the long way around the outside. But hold on, look forward as there's multiple cars going off, and that's Andrew Janis who's off at corner number.
I think he made contact there with David Sauger. Not entirely sure what happened, but that was a big send there from, I believe it was either Daniel or David further back. So Andrew, we've been forced to see him do these comeback drives before, and unfortunately it's another effort from him. More chaos further back as James gets punted there. I think that might have been David with another incident. So that makes it now 3 or 4 cars collected in this restart.
Cautions breed cautions, and apparently even more so during these MX-5 fight nights, folks. It is looking like a hectic battle out there, as Mike Noss would put it. A knife fight in a phone booth? No, this is David and Goliath battling MX-5s around Vallelunga for sure. Cody S trailing Andreas now. The podium a little bit more solidified with a 2.5 second gap back to Andreas, but Andreas is really trying to be the gatekeeper of P4. Cody, Donovan, Vicente, and James closing in behind very rapidly currently.
This is where these lap times are going to really start to come into play, not just so that, you know, that single lap pace is what's going to make battles possible for these guys, but they're going to be able to see the pace relative to guys around them. So this is where very quickly, say if you're Vicente further back in that kind of yellow Pennzoil car, you say, well, I'm not quite as fast as Donovan, but we're about even. Maybe if I lead here and get my nose clean, I could get a shot of maybe pushing us both forward. You can see Vicente really slide in there coming into the Seminis as he is really on attack here, trying to clear Donovan in that blue and white 55. Some big lunges further back, nearly 3 wide. Sauger, if you can grab that. James, Andrew, and David with a big send. David trying to make the comeback, so too is Andrew, working around the outside of James. This is just on the cusp of the top 10. Hayden as well trying to work his way into the picture as well. James was the one that got into David earlier on. Will this be a repetition of that heartbreak we saw at this very part of the racetrack? James nearly driven off of the exact same piece of racetrack he was driven off a lap ago, but is able to slot back behind.
It looks like the corner just fades away there, and James is trying to hold on in a straight line while the cars around him are kind of coming across him. James with an excellent send up the inside on Andrew, maintains P8 now in front of the 55 of Andrew, but we all know that Andrew's trying to work his way back up into P1, so he licks the stamp and he sends it up the inside line on the red 55, and 2 wheels go airborne coming through the hairpin fast right-hander.
Hard not to send it when you're in these cars. So inspiring to make these big moves. That's exactly what James is doing right now, trying to clear David, still able to do it, but the sausage curb strike back. He goes wide here, coming through the S's, and all of a sudden, not only David, but Hayden will go on through. So that's 1 position gained, but unfortunately 2 spots lost for James, who looks outside of the top 10. Good news is, with this long front straightaway, he's got a whole freight train in front of him and can fight on back. But up in front, Daniel continues to build that gap over Dylan, 0.76 seconds. And Josh now over a second behind, really starting to dilute right now between your podium positions.
Last lap times for these drivers: 154.0, 154.0, 153.9 from Josh that last time around, and then Andreas with a 154.7, 155.5 for Cody, Vicente with a 155.5 as well, and further back it'll be Andrew with the fast lap of a 154.8 currently, the best of the rest working his way back forward. But that's even with the battling that he was doing. He was able to pull out a 154.8. So in clear air, Andrew Janis definitely has the pace he needs to catch back up to the rest of the field.
Looks looks like, unfortunately, retirement as well for Matt, who threw in the towel 2 laps ago. That will put Mark W. as the caboose as we continue to race now. This is the battle for 5th. And Vicente trying to make moves. We talked about it earlier with Donovan. He's gained a handful of spots now because that was 8th. He's looking for 5th. And now Andres actually is the one right in front, I believe. No, it is Cody there in that black and white 71. Some hints of red there on that machine. Andrew just behind. How about that for a comeback drive as well, as he has found these two as well. But those two battling has been the main reason that 55 just a little bit further back has gotten into the mix. Further back, David also trying to make a move, I believe, on Donovan. Yes, so the two Janices getting at it on kind of defense. And unfortunately, that's one Janice down because David slopped by for P8.
Gap has come down by just a small margin. At the tip of the spear was 7/10 when the drivers crossed the line last. Now down to half a second, fluttering right around there. Dylan and Daniel will go at toe-to-toe, blow for blow soon. Let's check out this 3-way battle between Vicente, Cody, and Andrew. Andrew's going to take the opportunity to go 3 wide now through Simony, and they're going to get saucy, folks. And a couple wheels go airborne, but all MX-5s are pointed in the right direction.
Where's
Andrew's
Andrew?
the one that makes it through cleanly, but I think he's being a gentleman and yielding to give those positions back, waiting for the rest of the field to catch back up with him.
Vicente going around the outside. Here's James with the dive bomb of vengeance now coming into Curva Grande. Oh my goodness. I mean, that was just insanely. Look, how about that for a move there? The horn of justice being used by James there, as now Vicente is able to run away with the cheese, but now is sent back from Andrew.
Beautiful stuff. The horn being thrown out there, and it was just absolutely beautiful to see that MX-5 go airborne and not lose control. These drivers are absolutely relentless right now as the 55 from behind runs into the rear end of Andrew. These guys are just duking it out corner by corner, blow for blow, no holds bar. MX-5 racing.
This is just everybody having a head full of steam. Andrew goes around and gets straightened out, but now it looks like, I believe, Robert and Aaron going around further back, and 2 wide was not going to work in that part of the racetrack, boys. It's just Sagar, these guys just got a head full of steam, right? They've been in a handful of incidents with the same group of guys. They kind of know at this point the best they can do is be the best in their pack, and they're kind of going to do anything possible to be at the front of that group. And Andrew currently is making a move to the inside right now, trying to clear Hayden.
Absolutely beautiful brawling going on right now. Let's check out the front of this 3-way, 4-way, 5-way battle. Andrew goes off onto the grass, wants nothing to do with this conversation, and absolutely checks out of this. Not sure if he was run off, if he jumped on his own, or if he was pushed off there. But the 5-way battle has turned into a 4-way battle, and we're going to go 2x2 down the back stretch.
Wiggle for Aaron there on exit. Believe Cody got into him there, but he will get that inside line on the 24. Is Aaron able to defend and roll that momentum? He's going a little bit of opposite lock there, trying to save it, but he is able to fend off Hayden for the time being. Here we go into the Tsukuba section. You can see just how much these cars squat on the brakes, putting all of that weight on the front tires, and no ABS to help him out. But man, Aaron taking it like a champ right now, defending 2 hard charging cars of Hayden and Cody. But here he goes with a look to the outside, tries rolling that momentum out once again here, as things are only going to tighten up even more. Cody with an opportunity to the inside. Now they'll go 2 wide, Sagar.
2 wide into Torrentino now. The pasta sauce is gonna get spilled over the pot, and so are the 2 wheels onto the grass, it looks like. And you said we couldn't go 2 wide here. Well, why not, Jackson Lambros? Because we're gonna do it again and again, lap after lap. The chrome horn being used to push the car out in front. The white 57 getting pushed by the black and white 71, and the Pennzoil number 72 trying to chase them all down in this battle. And the more they battle, the slower they end up going. And who is that in the background? Oh, it's Andrew catching back up to this 5-way pack one more time.
The more you throw him out, the more he wants to work his way back into the picture. How's this for high-speed control? Oh my goodness, Cody with a big slide there, able to gather it back up. Here comes Aaron with a big lunge there in the 57, and Hayden gets into the picture with a big lunge. Now Cody gets the chrome horn, and after getting fed, the door goes wide and will slot in between all three of them. Everybody constantly reshuffling. We're still 3 wide, Sagar.
Absolutely phenomenal stuff. This is what you pay to see, folks. Some argy-bargy elbows out racing coming down into Campagno now. We're going to go 3 wide yet again. The 57 now in front of the 71, leading the 72 yellow Pennzoil car. And now things have maybe finally settled down a tad, but no, the 71's going to go deep, allowing the 72 to snap right on back. And like I said before, there comes Andrew, who's only 6/10 behind this pack. The slipstream will be in full effect for him, and he has the pace to catch back up. Vicente has got blood on his sleeves tonight for sure. That MX-5 is not showroom ready. It has not come fresh off the factory floor from Florida any longer. That thing has seen better days, and it's only 4 minutes left to go in this event. Who's going to come out on top? Let's snap back over to the lead for just a second, because it's come down to just a 10th between the two.
And all of a sudden, Dylan has turned up the burners. You can see Daniel going middle of the track there, trying to defend. Now says, oh, you're not lunging. I'll try the outside line then. Dylan says, hey, not too soon, buddy. You've still got plenty of racetrack. Well, maybe not plenty of racetrack, but definitely enough where I can squeeze an MX-5 just on through. So all of a sudden, what's the move here? Use the bumper, give yourself that insurance over Josh. He's not going to strike anytime soon. Let's see, any lunge here into Vallelunga, or into Campagno. Not quite yet, but you can see Dylan starting to feel the pressure there. Just a slight lockup in the corner. But Dylan overdriving as well, going a little bit wide on exit. So both of these guys really starting to overdrive, trying to build that gap on everybody.
In the background, Andrew was able to get by Vicente for P11, and Mark tumbling down the order behind Robert. Currently the 36 trails the number 61, but up ahead here it's half a second separating Daniel from Dylan. The battle for the lead of this race here at Vallelunga tonight will be decided in less than 3 minutes time now, coming around for the 8th lap of asking. Finally, will it be a move for the 57 on the 56 on the 9th opportunity? Finally is close enough. Will he go for a lunge going into Roma? No, he will not. He'll bide for a better opportunity, it looks like.
Daniel looking for his 3rd win of the season. Dylan looking for 3 in a row. And all of a sudden it goes into that oval racing mentality. I want to get to the lead, obviously, but I don't want to do it so soon to the point where I don't give that guy an opportunity to make a move back on me. So I'll just continue to study. Of course, the minute I say that, here comes Dylan with a look to the outside, kind of forced to go the long way around there after Daniel went very defensive on the inside. We'll see if he does the same here as we work our way out of the Simoneys. Through turn 6 as we work our way back into Campagno. Let's see, because Dylan has been really comfortable running the outside line, but he would really like a gander down low. Daniel will not give him the opportunity, though. How bold and how brave. Here comes the switch back into turn number 7, and just like that, textbook bait for Dylan to take the lead.
What an excellent switchback. That was the textbook definition of selling a dummy to your opponent, making them go defensive and pulling off an over-under. And especially in this cars, that is how beautifully you're supposed to execute a move like that. Hats off to Dylan, currently running in P1, but we've still got a minute left of racing. Jackson, can he hold on for another 60 seconds?
It'll certainly be white flag this time by, I believe, looking at lap times here, Sagar, actually, I don't know. No, absolutely going to be white flag next time by. And for the first time this entire race, Daniel's got to be smelling someone else's exhaust. So we're going to have to see if he'll be able to make this move. But already, Dylan putting a half-second gap on. That's definitely still within striking distance for Daniel, but he has got no time to study and set up. It's got to be a send right here, right now. You've got a couple opportunities. First one is going to be right here in the run into the Seminis. We'll see if that draft is in effect, but man, Dylan continuing to peel away. That gap is being closed because of the draft, but I still think it's going to be too little, too late. And a big part of Daniel closing that gap, it's going to be a money handful of corners here, just executing your entries and exits and doing everything you can without the draft to close that gap. Dylan going wide makes that definitely easy as well, and all of a sudden, he gets a little bit closer. Closer you are bumper to bumper, more that draft effect expands, the more of a slingshot effect you have. Daniel using that, going all the way to the inside, will go too wide into Campagna once again. Here's the big ship from Daniel, and in the exact same spot he lost it. He's trying to gain that lead back. Clear for the lead, not quite. Here comes Dylan here into turn number 8. Inside becomes the outside. Can Dylan use the Uno reverse card? Daniel trying to run that momentum on the high side, but the track tightens, and Dylan gets back to the lead.
Oh, beautiful maneuver. Like you said, that slingshot was in great effect coming down the back stretch, allowed Dylan to pull off that move down the long straightaway. And you could tell that he just lost a significant amount of momentum coming out of that big corner onto the straightaway. But here we go, a snap back up the inside line, and Daniel gets bumped out of contention from Dylan. And that will be reviewed by the stewards, I'm sure, because that will have race implications.
I'm going to put that as a racing incident, just a little bit wide there from Dylan, but thankful that Daniel got a little bit over eager. But Dylan picked the ultimate, picked the right time to do it at the white flag. And with that, we'll beat Daniel and be the first one to the checkered flag. 3 for 3 for Dylan in the MX-5 Cup.
Daniel bringing home P2 with Josh in P3. Andreas being the gatekeeper in P4. Held on to it for the majority of the race. Brought it home very well. David in P5. Donovan in P6. James crossing the line in 7. With Aaron bringing it home in P8. Cody S in P9. Andrew in P10, still battling it out at the very end. Now with Hayden this time around, who's bobbing and weaving every which way, trying to find a way by, but 11th is all she wrote there. Then Vicente in P12 with Mark in P13, Robert in P14, and Mark W in 15th with a DNF from Matt early on in the race in P16.
And breathe. Oh my goodness,
man.
What a phenomenal way to wrap up the evening. As Josh, we really didn't talk about Josh all that much, but what a phenomenal drive from himself there in the 56, getting himself to the front as well. I believe gained 3 or 4 points, or positions, I should say, to get there as well. But unfortunately, Andrew not able to get his comeback drive he was hoping for. A lot of guys kind of sent back early on there, Sauger, and just not able to really get it done. But man, Dylan fought like a bat out of hell. We really thought it was going to be a Daniel runaway. Was almost 1.2 seconds with really maybe 3 minutes to go, and really kicked the burners in there. Maybe capitalized on some errors from Daniel and got the job done. He's a 3-peat winner here.
Amazing stuff for the MX-5 Cup Championship that World of Racing is currently running. It has been a phenomenal time. Let's head back over to the booth and catch a recap of what we just saw.
I'm genuinely like white in the face, Auger. That was one of the most white knuckle finishes we've seen in a while here for the MX-5 Cup. But there's a reason we've been doing this since the inception of World of Racing. It never disappoints, and it's almost always a banger from green to checkered.
Now, is it better than Williams' overtake in the Proto Series Championship? Because that one was pretty good too.
That was a banger. That was equally a banger. But again, I'm singing the praises of Dylan there at the end, but man, still a great fight from Daniel there to get it to the line. But you look at both the Janices, Donnie and Andrew, trying to get some moves done as well. Vicente was really an underdog for me. He was making the moves that kind of seemed impossible. Certainly possible for him behind the wheel of the Pennzoil machine. What jumps out of the page for you, though, after race 10 here, Sauger?
James, Aaron, Cody, Andrew, Hayden, Vicente. The 5 drivers in the 5-way battle for, 2 or 3 laps in a row? That was my favorite thing to watch throughout probably my sim racing career so far. Like you said, the order was shuffling backwards and forwards constantly. Everybody was trying to get the run on their opponent. Runs were being handed over left and right. The over-unders were being executed beautifully. Drivers were trying to slipstream the faster driver, picking the wrong line. Elbows were out. Paint was scrubbing. What else could you ask for? The 15-20 minute race flew by too quickly, in my opinion, and I wish we were there for Barber as well.
What was simply phenomenal. And I'll tell you this, with Dylan getting those 2 wins, I'm not going to say he works his way into the championship points because he was a late entry, but we came in with just a 9-point difference between Josh and Daniel. Josh over Daniel. I need to see again how race 1 turned out, but we look at this, it's going to be razor's edge. Daniel still able to close that gap just a little bit there on Josh second and third in the second race of the evening. So it is going to be very, very close here once we get to the final 2 races, rounds 9 and 10 here in the middle of December.
Really looking forward to this championship coming to an end and crowning the MX-5 victor of World of Racing. Really looking forward to some more fighting, but make sure you stay tuned because tomorrow we're back for the Pro to Series Championship, and sooner rather than later we're also having an endurance event in the month of November. So keep an eye on the World of Racing social media for those announcements coming out very soon, if not already out, depending on when you watch this VOD back, because not only you're going to watch it once, you're going to watch it back because there was so much great action taking place, Jackson.
So we don't know where the next 2 races for MX-5 Cup will be, although I think it is listed somewhere. Unfortunately, I'm just forgetting about it. But I can tell you this, I believe the 9th is, I can math really quickly, Lambros. Sunday. This Sunday, we'll be doing the Road Atlanta 2.4 hours. That'll be in the Oreca 07, the LMP2. Absolutely going to be a good show if you guys want to come out and do that. But of course, as we mentioned, tomorrow, the penultimate round of the Pro Series, 296 Ferrari at Pittsburgh. Going to be a really good show, Sauger.
Really looking forward to it. The Pro Series Championship has been one of the staples since its inception here with World of Racing and has provided some of the most exciting end-to-end green to checkered flag combatants that we've ever seen. And of course, the drivers are competing for real world money. That's green dollar bills, folks. So the competition is absolutely ruthless, but it's still clean and it's still fun. I'm looking forward to being back with Jackson Lambros tomorrow evening.
All that to say is whether it's MX-5, Enduro, Pro Series, this world is going to keep on spinning, but it's time for us to stick a fork in it for now, as unfortunately it's getting late here on the West Coast. So we thank you all for watching, whether you're joining us center side in one of our 4 locations across America or from home here on the YouTube. And of course, for Mike now saying a final hello to anyone joining us through the VODs, but we thank you so much for watching, and we hope you've enjoyed watching just as much as me, Sauger, and the entire AK Esports UK group has at making it. For everyone here at World of Racing and for AK Esports UK, he's Sauger Bakshi. I'm Jackson Lambros saying bye for now from the World of Racing.